Welcome back to Study Hall, lifelong learners. Ready for another deep dive with me? Today, we're tackling something you might not expect, eating utensils.
Eating utensils?
Yeah, forks and spoons and all that. Think about it, though. Could you imagine yourself digging into a bowl of pasta without a fork?
Well, I mean, some people do.
Okay, true, but imagine a world completely without them. We're so used to them, but for most of human history, they weren't around at all. Our early ancestors, kind of like our primate cousins today, just used their hands.
Right, they just relied on their hands, and they used what they could find around them, like shells.
Shells.
Yeah, like as scoops, or leaves as plates, even making basic tools.
Yeah.
Sharp stones for cutting.
Oh, like those flint knives from early humans.
Yeah, exactly. And you can see how that kind of ingenuity led to the utensils we use today.
It's amazing how resourceful they were.
Yeah.
But it's fascinating that even today, in the 21st century, eating with your hands is still a thing.
Absolutely. And in some cultures, it's actually preferred. Like in India, eating with your hands is deeply rooted in tradition.
I've even heard it's thought to actually enhance the taste of food, like the direct contact with your fingers, stimulating the taste buds or something. Have you looked into that at all?
Well, it's interesting. In Ayurveda, the ancient Indian system of medicine, they believe eating with your hands helps balance the elements in the body, like earth, water, fire, all of those.
Wow, I never knew that.
Yeah.
It makes you realize that even something as basic as how we eat can have deeper cultural and philosophical connections. But let's shift gears a bit and talk about the OG utensil, the knife. Talk about a tool with a history.
Right. From those basic flint knives used for survival, we see them evolve over time. Like in the Bronze and Iron Ages, knives became more sophisticated, even status symbols.
Oh, yeah. And then in medieval Europe, before forks were a thing, everyone was using knives at the table. Can you imagine passing a sharp steak knife down the table these days?
Yeah, people would freak out. Back then, it was totally normal. Though table manners changed as forks gained popularity in the 16th and 17th centuries, knives became more about refined cutting, less about stabbing.
It's funny how the fork kind of dethroned the knife at the dinner table. But now, let's move on to another old faithful. The spoon. It's been scooping and slurping for centuries.
Yeah, the spoon is all about practicality. We found evidence of spoons made from wood, bone, and even shells in ancient civilizations all over the place.
I've always been intrigued by those ornate spoons found in ancient Egypt. Some were decorated with such intricate carvings. What were they even used for?
Those fancy spoons, they were often used in religious rituals or as offerings in burials. Some were even status symbols for the elite. The Egyptians placed a lot of importance on ceremony.
That's amazing. It's incredible how something as simple as a spoon can have so much cultural and historical meaning. And speaking of spoons, think about how many different kinds of spoons we have now. Teaspoons, soup ladles, there's a spoon for everything.
Well, the Greeks and the Romans really helped develop specialized spoons. They made different kinds for different purposes. And those traditions still influence spoon making today. Just think about the spoons you use when baking.
That's true. Measuring spoons, mixing spoons. It's a versatile tool that is adapted over time. But now, let's dive into the most rebellious utensil of them all, the fork. Its path to the dinner table wasn't exactly smooth sailing. It was actually quite controversial.
Oh yeah, the fork has a really fascinating story. It pops up first in the Byzantine Empire. Royalty used those small, two-pronged forks for delicate foods. But when it made its way to Western Europe, let's just say it wasn't a warm welcome.
Oh, I know. There's that famous story about the Byzantine princess.
Fyodora Anna.
Yeah, her. She brought her fancy golden forks to Venice in the 11th century, and people lost their minds. They called her decadent and unnatural, all because of a fork.
It is pretty funny when you think about it now, but back then the fork was seen as unnecessary, a symbol of, effeminacy, even an offense to God.
It's a great example of how cultural norms and beliefs can really shape how we see something as basic as a fork. But against all odds, the fork eventually won over the West.
It did. And the funny thing is, it was a king known for his etiquette who helped popularize it. Louis XIV of France embraced the fork, saw it as essential for refined dining.
So the rest of Europe followed his lead.
Basically. And that's how the fork earned its place at the table.
From rejected to royalty. It's a reminder that even everyday objects can have incredible journeys. They tell us about cultural shifts, technology, even our changing relationship with food. But let's expand our horizons beyond the Western world now.
Oh yeah, because in the East, a completely different utensil reigns supreme, the chopstick.
Chopsticks are just so elegant and skillful. I've always admired how people use them. but I understand their origins are actually quite practical.
That's right. The development of chopsticks in China around 1200 BCE is linked to the rise of bite-sized food and wok cooking. Think stir fries, noodles, all those dishes perfect for chopsticks.
That makes sense. Woks encourage smaller food pieces, so chopsticks are perfect for grabbing them. But wasn't there also a philosophical side to chopsticks?
There is. Confucian teachings emphasize harmony and balance, and they weren't too keen on knives at the table. They saw them as aggressive, which makes sense. So, chopsticks, with their delicate precision, became a symbol of refined dining.
It's fascinating how a simple eating tool can be so tied to cultural values. And the way chopsticks spread through East Asia is a fascinating story on its own. Each country kind of made them their own.
Oh, absolutely. Japanese chopsticks are often more tapered and elegant, sometimes lacquered or made from precious materials. Korean chopsticks, though, are usually made of metal.
Metal, why is that?
Well, one theory is that it stemmed from a need to detect poison food.
Wait, really? That's amazing.
It is. And in Vietnam, they often use chopsticks with spoons, especially for noodle soups. It really shows how a single tool can adapt to different traditions and tastes.
It's incredible how adaptable they are. But amidst all this talk of chopsticks, forks, and spoons, let's not forget the OG eating tool, our hands. It might seem old-fashioned, but as we said earlier, it's still incredibly common.
It's true. And in lots of places, especially in the Middle East, India, and parts of Africa, eating with your hands is not just accepted, but the preferred way, especially for certain dishes. It's seen as a way to truly connect with the food.
It's a good reminder that there's no one right way to approach something as basic as eating. What seems old-fashioned in one culture can be deeply meaningful in another.
Exactly. And it's a good reminder that our relationship with food is always evolving, shaped by culture, technology, and the environment.
And that brings us to the modern evolution of eating utensils.
Right, where we're seeing a kind of back to basics movement with natural materials, but also a leap forward with high-tech innovations.
It's like this weird blend of the old and the new.
It is. On one hand, you have disposable plastic, a symbol of modern convenience, but on the other hand, we're seeing a real pushback against plastic because of the environmental impact.
It's like we've come full circle from natural materials to plastic and back to sustainability again. It's good to see bamboo utensils and biodegradable options making a comeback.
Definitely a good trend. People are being more mindful about their choices, and they're looking for eco-friendly alternatives. And we're seeing so many incredible technological advancements, too.
Oh, now I'm curious. What kind of high-tech cutlery are we talking about? Self-stirring spoons, forks with GPS.
Haha, maybe not that advanced. But we are seeing things like self-heating spoons to keep food warm, or spoons that stabilize for people with tremors. There are even spoons that change color if baby food is too hot.
Wow, that's incredible. It seems like the future of utensils is all about personalization and meeting individual needs.
You're right. And the exciting thing is it's only getting more advanced.
Yeah.
We'll dive into these high-tech advancements and how they're changing the lives of people with disabilities in part 2 of our deep dive.
That sounds incredible.
It is, and we'll be exploring those high-tech advancements and how they're changing the lives of people with disabilities in part 2 of our deep dive.
I can't wait. But for now, we'll leave our listeners in suspense.
Until next time, keep those spoons polished, and we'll see you back here at Study Hall for part 2 of our journey through the fascinating world of eating utensils.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Welcome back to Study Hall. Glad to have you back as we continue our exploration of eating utensils. Last time, we were just starting to talk about smart utensils and how they are making dining more accessible.
Oh, yeah, it's such an interesting area. I'm excited to hear more about it. You mentioned self-stabilizing spoons. That sounds almost futuristic, like something out of Star Trek, but it's actually helping people in a real, tangible way.
Yeah.
How do they even work?
Well, picture this. You've got a spoon with a tiny built-in gyroscope and a set of motors. When it senses tremors, those things work together to basically counteract the movement, keep the spoon level.
So it's not just absorbing the tremors, it's actively fighting back to keep the spoon steady. That must be life-changing for people with conditions like Parkinson's.
It really is. It gives people back a sense of independence and dignity, at the dinner table. They can finally enjoy their meals without worrying about spills or feeling self-conscious.
I bet. It's about more than just eating. It's that social aspect, being able to enjoy a meal with others without feeling anxious.
Exactly. And self-stabilizing spoons are just one example. We're seeing utensils designed for people with limited grip strength, too.
Oh, so like those big crayons they give kids. Easier to hold.
Kind of. Lots of them have larger handles, ergonomically designed to be easier to grip. Some even have those rotating heads so you can scoop food without twisting your wrist as much.
It's about adapting the tool to the person instead of the other way around. And this technology is just going to keep improving, right? You mentioned they're even working on utensils controlled by brainwaves.
It sounds pretty wild, right? But the goal is to allow people with very limited mobility to control a robotic arm that basically brings food to their mouth, all just using their thoughts.
Now, that is straight out of science fiction. That would be revolutionary. And I think you also mentioned smart utensils that could help people with cognitive impairments, like dementia.
Yeah, things like forks that can tell how fast someone is eating and vibrate if they need to slow down.
That's amazing. It's incredible how something as simple as a fork can become this high-tech tool for such specific needs.
It really shows you the potential technology has to make a real difference in people's lives. And it's only going to keep getting better. Who knows what's next? Maybe utensils that can analyze your food's nutritional content,
Yeah.
even give you personalized feedback.
Okay, that is fascinating. A fork that's also a nutritionist.
Yeah,
It's like we're entering this whole new era of dining. Technology is not just assisting us, it's informing us, maybe even nudging us to make healthier choices.
it's possible. But as amazing as all these advancements are, I think it's important to remember the value of those traditional utensils and the cultures they represent.
Oh, absolutely. Like we talked about earlier, the cultural significance of chopsticks, eating with hands, it's all part of the story. Our relationship with food is complex, influenced by all sorts of things.
You got it. And even within traditional utensils, there's so much diversity and ingenuity. Remember how we talked about the variety of spoons across different cultures? The
Uh-huh.
Korean sujeo, the Chinese soup spoons.
Oh yeah, those Korean spoons with the long handles, they're so elegant. They seem perfectly suited for scooping up rice and those yummy stews. Do you know anything about their design or cultural significance?
Well, those spoons are called sujeo, as you said, and they're usually made from metal and used with metal chopsticks. The long handles are great for those deep bowls they use in Korean cuisine, and that slightly flattened shape, perfect for rice.
It's remarkable how even a simple spoon can be so thoughtfully designed and culturally specific.
It is, and those little differences can tell you a lot about a culture's culinary traditions and even their values. Like in some cultures, spoons are seen as feminine and forks as masculine.
Really? Wow, I never thought about utensils that way. Makes you realize that even the most basic objects can have hidden meanings. Speaking of which, what do you think about that resurgence of interest in natural materials for utensils? Bamboo, wood, all that.
It's great. We already talked about the plastic problem, but there's a real appreciation growing for the craftsmanship and sustainability of those natural materials.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. Especially bamboo utensils. They're lightweight and durable, and they biodegrade. It's like going back to basics, but with a modern twist.
It is. And it's not just bamboo. There are biodegradable options made from cornstarch, palm leaves, even avocado pits. People are really finding creative solutions to reduce waste and make dining more sustainable.
That's fantastic. It shows we can make better choices without sacrificing style or convenience.
Absolutely. And it's not just about replacing disposables. People are bringing back reusable utensils too. Metal, silicone. It's great. You reduce waste and you're making a statement.
I love that. It's like bringing your own set of values to the table.
Yeah.
Oh, and what about those multifunctional utensils? The spork, the chork, those Swiss Army knives of the cutlery world? It seems like more is more is the new motto.
Well, sometimes it's about being efficient, having one tool that can do multiple things. But there's also this fun, creative element to those designs.
It's like the designers are thinking, why just have one function?
Yeah, right. And that creativity isn't limited to multifunctionality. We're seeing whimsical designs, ergonomic features, even interactive elements.
Right, interactive utensils. Now that's interesting. What do you mean by interactive?
Think of a spoon that changes color based on the temperature of the food, or a fork that lights up when you pick it up.
Oh, that's cool. It's like adding a little fun to mealtime. It sounds like the world of utensils is becoming more playful, more personalized. A far cry from those basic stone knives our ancestors used, right?
Definitely. And as we move forward, who knows what other surprising and delightful innovations we'll see. The possibilities are really endless.
That's a great segue into the final part of our deep dive, where we'll really explore those future possibilities.
Yeah, get ready, everyone. The future of dining is going to be pretty wild.
Welcome back to Study Hall. We're on the last leg of our deep dive into eating utensils. Are you ready to go full-on sci-fi with me?
Oh, yeah, definitely. We've talked about the history, the culture, all the cool innovations happening now, so let's really let our imaginations run wild with what's next for forks, spoons, and knives.
I'm all in. When you say future, What kind of crazy culinary landscape are we talking about? Self-cleaning sporks? Spoons that are also smartphones? Utensils that magically make food float into our mouths?
Some of those might be a little far out there, for now anyway. But the potential is huge. Let's start with something that's already making waves: 3D printed cutlery.
3D printing. It seems like they can make anything with that these days. Houses, organs. But cutlery, how does that even work?
Just imagine you could design and print your own custom cutlery. Perfect for your hand, your grip, whatever you like. No more struggling with those awkward mass-produced things.
That's pretty cool. It'd be like having your own personal cutlery artisan. I could finally have a spoon with a handle long enough for those tall parfait glasses.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just custom designs. Think about new materials, new textures, cutlery made from recycled ocean plastic or biodegradable stuff. Maybe even utensils with textures that make eating a whole sensory experience.
Now that's interesting. That would be huge, both for sustainability and for just making food more fun.
But let's push it even further. You mentioned augmented reality dining. Can you walk me through that? What would that even look like?
Picture this. You're sitting down to dinner, you put on a pair of AR glasses, and suddenly your boring old plate is a garden. Like a full-on garden with birds chirping, flowers, everything. Your utensils have these tiny sensors, and they interact with that virtual environment, making the flavors and textures of your food come alive in this digital way.
Wait, so you're saying I could have a virtual steak that tastes and feels like a real steak, but without the ethical and environmental baggage?
That's the idea. It might sound crazy, but the technology is getting better all the time. Think about it. Any food you want, no matter how exotic, no limits on where it comes from or when it's in season. Okay, that's pretty mind-blowing. But wouldn't that take away from the social part of eating? Sharing food with friends and family, talking, all that.
I see what you mean, but I actually think AR could make those connections stronger. Imagine sharing these virtual food experiences with people far away, or recreating dishes from your childhood. It's a new way to connect through food.
That's a good point. It wouldn't replace real-world dining, but it could be something totally new. But as cool as all this sounds, we have to be realistic. What if we become so dependent on technology for our food experiences that we lose the simple joy of real food, real connection?
That's a really important question, and it's something we have to think about carefully as we develop these technologies. It's about finding that balance, embracing innovation without forgetting what really matters.
Exactly. It's a balancing act, for sure. As we wrap up our deep dive, I'm left thinking, as technology keeps advancing and our relationship with food keeps changing, what will utensils even look like in the future? Will we even need them? Or will they become museum pieces, replaced by virtual food experiences?
That's a big question, and it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. But for now, I think we all deserve a good meal, hopefully with some beautifully crafted utensils.
I agree. And to all our listeners out there, keep those minds hungry and those spoons ready for whatever comes next in the world of eating utensils. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Bye, everyone.